Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. TGIF. Welcome back, bums. It's me, Gio, and y'all know who the fuck it is. I'm about to start a long day Friday. First, I have to make light of how goddamn hot it is in Chicago. God. A little bit of a backstory here. I was born in Chicago. I've lived my entire life in the Midwest. I cannot do hot weather. As many of my Midwestern friends will attest to, we have some pretty bad winters here. You know, like we had those two polar vortex days. The wind chill was like negative 55 degrees. You know, we don't have it easy. But I'm just one of those weirdos where like I get uncomfortable in 85 degree weather. Like I'd rather be freezing cold all year than even kind of, because 88 degrees isn't that bad, but to me, I don't feel comfortable driving in that kind. I don't want to be in hot weather. My old MMA coach, one time, it was like the middle of August, and he pops in, he's like, it's 112 degrees outside. He's like, if I wanted to live in this kind of heat, I'd move to Arizona, right? But right now we're going to talk about, this is something I do to kind of like break the ice with passengers, and I've noticed it does kind of increase my ratings a bit. I know a lot of you are going to be like, what, seriously, how? Because I like talking to my passengers. I like hearing funny stories from them. But also there's a bit of like a psychological, I guess, there's a reason why I do it, why it works, is I've noticed to kind of get my ratings up, because I'll show you, and I believe, where's my Uber app? On Uber, my rating finally got back up to 4.95. Yeah, 4.95 with 14,644 rides. And I held a 4.95 to 4.97 for probably a year and a half. And then it kind of went on a slide for a little bit. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe I was doing more pools. And it got down to 4.91. So on Uber, I'm a 4.95. On Lyft, I believe I'm 5 stars. But that's not really, because I guess the way it works with Lyft is, if a passenger doesn't rate you, then it's automatically 5 stars. So it's a little bit easier to get a 5-star rating. Yeah, I'm perfect 5 stars on Lyft. It's easier to maintain a 5-star rating on Lyft, if that is the case. I don't know if it is or not. I do think overall, good, clean conversation leads to higher ratings, higher tips, and obviously having a clean car. But one of the things that I've been working on to kind of get my rating higher while having, good conversation, is to ask my passengers if they have any Uber or Lyft horror stories, right? Like if they've ever had a bad experience with another driver. And almost all of them, like 9 out of 10 will be like, oh yeah, I've had one driver that was like mentally unstable, or the car was falling apart, or, I had a passenger one time tell me a story about how he thought he was going to die during a snowstorm on an Uber ride because the Uber driver didn't have windshield wiper fluid. So the driver got out of the car on a busy street to put to like put water on the windshield to kind of defrost it and everything like that. And like, I didn't mean to laugh, but the guy said when he was telling the story that he accepted he was going to die at that moment. Just like, he's like, looking back, he's like, yeah, it's funny now, but it's like, man, that was frightening. So, and the reason I like to hear those kinds of stories, because like, how many millions of Uber and Lyft rides happen every single day, right? Tons. There's going to be a couple bad rides in there somewhere. So, and the psychological, like, plus to that is, if you ask a passenger what their worst ride ever was, they're going to recall it, and then they're going to be like, well, this ride is, God damn it, this ride is 100% better than that ride. This driver is so much cooler than the other driver. The car is clean, everything. This is a professional driver here. This driver is going to get 5 stars, especially thinking back to how horrible that previous ride experience was. So that's why I ask if passengers have any, Uber or Lyft horror stories. And then they usually will come back to me like, do I have any horror stories? And I tell them a couple funny stories. And on a lengthy airport ride, it's better to get along with your passengers and make good conversation. So that's something I've been doing lately to kind of get my get my ratings up or keep them up. And I mean, I know ratings don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but I don't know. I personally feel like if I'm going to be giving you guys advice, I better know what I'm talking about. I better have a decent rating. I better not have like a 4.75 or 4.82 or something. Like, that just means if your rating's that low, that just means you have no idea what customer service is. That means you're getting into arguments with your passengers or your car isn't clean. So while the rating system, like I'm guilty of it too. I put way too much emphasis on my rating, but I'm very proud of my rating. I think a good rating after so many thousands of rides shows that you're doing this well, right? So let me know what you guys think. Do you have any like nice icebreakers you toss around? Maybe some of you can maybe give me some advice, see if I could do something different with my passengers. But I love asking that question because it always leads to some pretty funny stories. So let me know if there's any kind of conversation bits you guys do to grease up the passengers, make sure they're in a nice, friendly mood for the ride. And that's all I got for this one, guys. I want to thank you all for watching. Everyone, please stay safe, stay driven, stay classy. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.